Alright, hey everybody, Sensei Grizzly here for your January brand new New Year episode of Ask the Grizzly. I'm accompanied by Omari Flying Elbow Drop Dyson, the king of judo disqualification, to give you this demonstration. So the question was asked about some methods of protecting yourself when you're on your back, possibly in a guard situation, where weapons retention is a goal and you're having to maneuver around gear like in a law enforcement or military type scenario. To give you an idea of some of my law enforcement background, I have been a licensed security guard in the state of North Carolina. I was on a counter-terrorist task force mobilized for Operation Noble Eagle with the Army National Guard from North Carolina, and also was on the Quick Reactionary Force in Operation Iraqi Freedom. So mostly military, but techniques of arrest and of course weapons retention are a big part of the Modern Army Combatives program, which is where we'll be drawing some of these techniques for today's lesson. Okay. One thing that I do want to mention is, for anybody watching, is that the Tooler rule for the 21-foot standoff distance is something that you should always bear in mind. So if you're in a scenario where you feel like you're in a situation where the use of a firearm is necessary, you want to make sure that you have that 21 feet safe standoff distance if at all possible, because the best block for any technique is to simply not be there. But there will be scenarios, especially in like Battle Drill 6, room clearing, hand-to-hand scenarios, where things go south, especially at that point where you're maybe trying to take the bad guy into custody. And in that situation, you may need to have tools in some of these failure scenarios to protect yourself. Okay. So in the first scenario, I have been knocked to the ground, boom, and he is standing over me. I want to remember my levels of defense from the ground. Okay. So level number one is his feet, my feet. I don't want him to just be able to come up on top of me. I want to kind of use these as a base if at all possible, but also my hands to defend. Okay, now the list of techniques I'm going to give you are by no means exhaustive. These are just a few things to stimulate the imagination. In this scenario, okay, I want to roll onto my weapon side so that it's protected. It's not in a place where he can easily get it. I've also still got this foot in the ground. If he's got a garment, whether it's a t-shirt or a thicker jacket, now I've got two levels of defense in play. From here, I'm going to attack this leg here and here. Okay, I'm going to kick and pop to ride up to this position. From here, I can go to a draw, okay, or I can attempt to subdue him using hand-to-hand combat techniques. Again, in this particular scenario, I've been knocked to the ground, boom. Okay, I'm here, I want to keep these levels of defense between me and him. I don't want him to be able to fly and Superman punch me without having to negotiate my feet. Okay, I am starting to turn onto my hip. Maybe I've started to get some other grips. I'm starting to turn onto my hip because I want to protect the weapon. I don't want it in a position where he can get to it. I'm not really in a position where I can get to it. If I go to draw, I am making myself vulnerable. I'm not going to get to my pistol. He's within 21 feet. Okay, so I take him off his feet, get to a position of advantage, and now I can think about drawing my weapon. In scenario number two, possibly we were in a scuffle, and now I'm on my back and he is on top of me. He is attempting to punch me. Now I'm still guarding my weapon here, but I don't want to keep eating knuckles. So as he goes to punch me, I am working on getting my second layer of defense, my knees, in concert with my third layer of defense between me and him. Okay, so that when he attempts to punch me, he can't. And he's not in a position where he can grab my weapon. Okay, from here, I'm going to take this, create distance, up kick to the face, shove him off, stand up in base, and I can draw if that's what I want to do. Again, I'm in a real bad spot here. He is starting to punch me. So I'm using my legs to block his ability to punch. Okay? From here, I can soften him with kicks to the chest, but I want that up kick to the face, shove him off, bring my weapon to bear. In this third scenario, he's back in my guard, okay? But his goal was not necessarily to attack me like with striking, but he wants to get to my weapon. As soon as he goes for it, I'm trapping that hand and blocking his ability to get to my weapon side. This is when I'm gonna initiate the Kimura trap. To either break the arm, okay, or if he starts to hide this hand so that I can't block, then I can posture up on the elbow, and even with all this bulk, I'm gonna bridge straight up in the air, and now I'm on top, and I can start working arrest scenarios. Or finally, as he's reaching, moving, this may be a scenario to employ a strangulation technique. Bear in mind that law enforcement agencies, and based on your escalation of force, the rules of engagement, depending on what part of the world you're in, they're different. So you have to figure out how to work within whatever the rules and regulations are that bind you, okay? So for a lot of LEO type officials, the guillotine is a no-no, okay? So the Kimura, the reverse bent armbar, and the sweep may be a better option. One more time. So option number one in this case, where he's making a grab for the weapon, I'm redirecting that grab. I am putting the weapon between me and the ground, so it's really hard for him to get it away. Even if he's still struggling to get it, reverse bent armbar. Okay, if he senses that the reverse bent armbar is coming, he's trying to hide it from me, now I can posture on the elbow, and I can do the hip bump sweep, and then possibly work into a position for arrest. And again, depending on your rules of engagement, this may have more of a military application where a lethal hold is more warranted. He's going for my move. He wants the weapon. I'm not letting him have it. I start to work this hold. It's not working. He's blocking my hold. Posture, posture, posture. Okay? Still hiding my weapon. Swim over and then finish. So, those are a few options from a situation where you've been immediately knocked down and you're just trying to keep the guy from getting on top of you while defending your weapon, okay? A situation where you've been knocked down, he's on top of you, he's trying to pound you out and you're trying to manage the punches and then to get him off so that you can stand up and bring your weapon to bear. And then finally a situation where it's really bad, he's knocked you down, he's on top of you, and now he is attempting to make a grab for your weapon. Again, know your rules of engagement. Bear in mind the Tooler 21-foot safe standoff rule, and hope to see you on the mats. This is Grizzly, January episode of Ask the Grizzly.